and welcome back to the channel. So today's little get ready with me video, I am answering questions that I've never answered before, or just telling you a little bit about myself. It's kind of like a get to know me and a get ready with me, but I haven't even done this ever over on Instagram. So let's just get straight into the basics of while I do my makeup. I start off with my serums. So my name's Ashley. I am 34 years young and I'm a Taurus. And how I relate to being a Taurus is I probably have lazy tendencies at times. Then also on the opposite side of that, I am very proactive and I like to be kind of organized, and whenever I want something done, I want it done yesterday, not tomorrow, like our paneling. So it's really annoyed me recently that Pierce has not gotten top of it, but we are getting on top of it this week. You might already have seen or be aware that I love how like sticky this looks. I have two children, age 5 and 3, which can be a handful. Honestly, the best thing that's ever happened to me. I couldn't imagine my life any other way. Now, some days are chaotic, but I absolutely love my girls. And one thing I know from motherhood has definitely changed me for the better. I'm a far better person for my girls, and I know that. And I am so grateful for them. I'm so grateful for the person that they have made me. I did fashion design in uni, and I actually always wanted to be a fashion designer from a very young girl. From the age of like probably 8, I was always drawn figurines of like women and dresses, and I just love fashion. My granny used to go shopping with my mum, and if we were looking at clothes, I would always try and help her pick out an outfit. So I loved the sense of, I had like just a strong sense of fashion from a very young age. And I wanted to be a fashion designer. That was my dream. That still is my dream, because obviously it never came true. I did my fashion design degree in uni. I probably wouldn't go to the same university that I went to. I would study abroad next time. So I went to Belfast, University of Ulster. I didn't enjoy my course myself whenever I was there, and I would much have preferred, and I'm not afraid to say this, I would much have preferred to go to London, because I always wanted to live in London, and that's also a dream that I never got to obviously live out. But I had children, and then no, sorry, I met Pierce. After I met Pierce, everything changed. And that's probably why, to be honest, in a way, that I didn't get to do the fashion design, because I was supposed to go over to Italy for an internship, and I chose Pierce over that. But I don't regret it. I do not regret it, because I have two beautiful children today that I absolutely love, and I still love the life that I live. I just know that it could have panned out very differently, and I am very much a believer that no matter what age you are, your dreams are still there to be lived, and you still have a chance no matter what age you are. I don't agree with people that think, well, if you didn't do it whenever you were younger, there's no way you're going to be able to do it now. I think that no matter what age you are, you can still live out a dream. So even with like Vivienne Westwood, Vera Wang, they all didn't get to live out their dreams as the fashion designers that they are today until they were in their 40s. So I still have a chance. I'm 34, it's still young. I don't think there's a limit to anybody and what age you are and what you can achieve in life. A thing I hate spiders. I've hated spiders since a very young age. My sisters knew this, and they used to chase me with spiders around our house whenever I was really young. Still don't forgive them for that. I mean, I have an absolute, possibly on the verge of phobia over spiders. So yeah, I went to Australia whenever I was like in my early 20s, and the thing I was afraid of whenever I went to Australia was obviously the spiders. But I will tell you now, there are less spiders in Australia compared to the UK. So if you go to Australia, don't be afraid of the spiders, unless you live in the outback, which I did for a couple of months, and you'll find like the most biggest spiders you'll ever see in your life. That's the only difference. The spiders in Australia are massive. If you spot them, they will scare the bejeebus out of you. It's not that you won't find them, you just won't see as many as what you do in the UK. On that note, in Australia, we lived in the outback for 3 months to do our farming. And while we did our farming in the outback, Pierce and I could not get anything at the time locally. Like, we couldn't get anything 3 hours away from the city, so you have to go to the outback, but we couldn't get anything close to the city. We had to travel like 12 hours into the center of the country, and we basically reached the limit of where no man goes afterwards. So we were in a place called Cunnamulla, and there's like so your next door neighbours are like half an hour away. The place that we lived at, the town that we, not the town that we lived at, but on the farmland that we lived at, the neighbours were 30 minutes away. And where we went to, there was no reception. And the elderly couple that we farm that we were on, they were so nice. First of all, Pierce and I were split up and he was sent to somewhere different from me. I panicked, and then they were so nice that they let me also work on his farm too. It's a really long story with that. So we were brought in to this place in Cunnamulla, and then this person, whenever we got there, said, okay, well, we actually have no work on our farm, but we're going to send you out to different people's. And I never forget the first night we had to live in the barn, and I actually was like, oh my goodness, are we at a serial killer's house? Because this person had brought like 5 of us, but we all had no jobs. And I was like, why did you bring us out here and we have no jobs? Because we need to get our work done, the 3 months thing, work that you have to do in Australia in order to get another year. But the first night that we stayed there, the toilet was this tin shed outside, and our shower was right beside that in another tin shed, and you had to walk out of the barn with these random beds in it that looked like the cows slept in at one stage to go to your toilet in a tin shed. I don't know, I just, that was not the place to be. So I was so thankful afterwards to be sent to the same farm that Pierce was at, because they actually had a lovely little cottage off the side of their house. So we had our own little home, which was really nice. It wasn't the most modern thing, but it was still nicer than what I had before that. We were in the middle of nowhere, as in no reception. They didn't have any Wi-Fi. So whenever I went out there, there was no reception, but there was also no Wi-Fi. And because there was no Wi-Fi or no reception, I didn't realize this because we weren't told this before we got there. I couldn't contact my family for 2 weeks because we were only allowed to go into town, which was an hour away, town to get the groceries every 2 weeks. That's just how they lived. They let us borrow their van or their pickup truck, and we were only allowed to go into town every 2 weeks. It's just their routine. It's just what they did. It's not like they held us hostage. But my mum and my dad and my family and my friends all panicked, and I had loads of messages whenever I got into the town. Ashley, are you okay? Ashley, are you well? Ashley, are you alive? I was like, yeah, I just been living in the outback in the middle of, they knew I was going to farm, and they knew I was going so remote, but they all thought like I had died or I'd been murdered and I'd been buried and everything. But no, it was just, there was no reception, no Wi-Fi. But yeah, basically everybody thought that we had went out into the middle of nowhere, and because we weren't answering our phones, weren't replying to like 30 texts or more that had come through that something had happened to us. My mum even went as far as going into my friends' workplaces and asking them if she didn't have their number. She was going into the workplaces to ask them if they had heard from me. That's how bad it was. So whenever I got these messages, I was like, oh my goodness, they're probably calling the police to report a missing person. But no, I was fine. I was just working away, slaving away, and what we did in the outback was we kept sheep and cows in the farmyard work, and I scrubbed down walls because they had sandstorms. And the worst thing that probably was there, not even spiders, there's kangaroos out in the backyard all the time, but the worst thing was probably mice. Because we had loads of mice. We had loads of mice in our little country house, and that was the worst, probably the worst thing. And also during that time on the farm, we had to wash our clothes with an old wash machine, but we had to wring the clothes out in like an old style, like 1950s kind of wringer. Like, you know, the thing that your clothes like have to roll through. Sorry, I had to move because the light is blinding me. But whenever I was out in the outback, I probably learnt most of my survival skills out there, and then also learnt how to bake banana bread. Could have bought them in the shop, but you didn't want to waste your money on that because you weren't getting paid an awful lot in the farming anyway. So I used to make everything from scratch, and the days were kind of long because if you had no Wi-Fi, you had no internet, which meant that, you know, I read books. I read more books. I lived a more simple way of living back then. But what I can say as well, it was a nice period of time. It was like as if you got a time machine and went back into the past and lived that kind of way of living, and it was actually nice. It was slow and simple and nice, and you definitely appreciated things a lot more, is what I can say. After doing the farming, I sort of half enjoyed it, half didn't enjoy it. Like, I wouldn't go back there to live. I definitely much prefer over here, but it's more like I feel like working life over here is better, where you go to work and you come home and you still get to, like, you know, you could run down, meet your friend for coffee, go for like a quick walk or something, have a little bit of downtime, watch TV before bed. Whereas in Australia, I find you came home, you made your dinner, and then you went straight to bed, because the working time, you'd get up so early to travel to go to work and come back home. And I hated that sort of, like, for me, Australia was just rush, 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 rush all the time, where I feel like back here in Ireland's a bit more like kind of easier going. So I do appreciate living at home. Actually a very sensitive soul, you know. I don't know if people will have gathered that, but I don't like if I thought I said something and upset somebody, I'd be so annoyed at myself, because that would never be my intention. And then also, even as a child, I was so sensitive. So whenever we were watching movies, like things like Bambi, I hated Bambi, Disney movie Bambi, because the mother died every time, and my mum tells me as well, and I remember this, whenever they shot the mother, my hands always went over my eyes. I couldn't watch it. I'm still like that with films today. If there's something bad that happens in a movie, I put my hands over my eyes. I still do that today. And I remember like Bugs Bunny, those kind of movies, or children's cartoons. I didn't like Bugs Bunny because Bugs Bunny was mean. I didn't I didn't find it funny. Everybody else finds it funny, but I didn't like the characters hurting each other. So even Tom and Jerry, I didn't like Jerry because he was hurting Tom, but then I didn't like Tom whenever Tom was hurting Jerry. So I'm a very sensitive soul. I'm also definitely an introvert at heart. I know some people probably think on the outside that I like to go out and stuff, or that I'm very bubbly, but like Elise, what are you doing? I find it really hard in big social groups, because like I'm definitely more of an introvert. I love like sort of more intimate times, like small groups of friends together. If there's big personalities in the room, I always feel like I feel whoa, because I don't know what to say, because like I love people that come in with confidence. I know I don't have that. I wish I had more of that. And I also I love sitting in. I love sitting in my cozies. And whenever I have events to go to, because it's part of my job, I freak out and I panic. So I have one tomorrow, and I know already I'm like panicking, oh, what I wear, what, like, you know, and then who's gonna be there, I'm like, what am I gonna do, I'm on my own, and I do panic about things like that. So I find events, that part of my job, very hard, although people might not think it. I start talking and talking because it's a nervousness, so I talk more and probably seem like outgoing in a way, and I probably seem like I have no problem chatting, but it's my nervousness that takes over, that doesn't stop me chatting, that like I just keep going, and then I'm like, I walk away from the conversation and I'm like, oh, why did I say that? They probably think I'm an idiot. I'm not a big drinker either. I can't handle my drink. I don't really like a big party life. Probably did one stage whenever I was younger, but definitely as I'm getting older, no, not for me. Also, I don't think I've ever told anyone this one, but like my dad, I know some people know that he lives in France, but whenever we went to go view his house in France before he bought it at the time, I never forget, it was an old woman's house and she'd recently died. We went in to view it, and then there was this cupboard, and I opened it up and it was all her clothes that like still were there in the house whenever we were viewing. And whenever dad bought it and dad got it, the clothes were still there, they were never taken out. And I was like, oh, I'm never sleeping in this room. So I never slept in that room ever, and still to today I will not sleep in that room. I've gotten older, I'm definitely appreciating the little things more. I want to have this life where it's easy, simple, non-materialistic, and just spend my days like crocheting. I don't know, like a changed girl from what I was. Now I still obviously want to have like my own fashion brand, a fashion line, but I also want that simple life as well. But I think that's like retirement age. I can just see myself sitting in the garden with like a little book, or gardening, or picking my herbs out, kneading bread in the kitchen, making bread, you know, from scratch. That's kind of like my goal in life, is to have that simplicity, kind of nice countryside garden lifestyle. And then in my younger years it was very much city girl, city vibes, and I'm starting to transition out of that already, and I know I am. But like I said, I would still like to obviously design my own fashion range or fashion line, and like maybe one day, maybe, who knows. And if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. I'm very much believe in like the Lord, will literally basically tell you what is, or show you and guide you what is meant for you. And if it's not going to be put in your path. But at the same time, I think he gives you opportunities to work on it, and if they don't come, then maybe he's left, you know, this life path that you take, there is a path for you, and you just have to try and figure out what that is, and he will guide you there. So I am very positive about life most of the time as well. I am a positive person most of the time. One of those facts I don't think I've told anybody about my dad's, just because it's never come up in conversation, about my dad's house and the woman's school clothes. I'm just getting ready here too. I'm gonna put on a belt with these pinstripe trousers. Also need to put on some tan on my feet because they are ridiculously not matching the rest of my body. Tell you quickly about this, and it's not an ad or anything. I literally use this all the time on my legs. I don't tan them anymore, I just use that. It's an instant tan, but it doesn't leave any streaks. It goes on like a tan, and it washes off like the day after. So if you want like tan on one day, off the next, this is the best instant tan I've ever used, and I use it in the color dark. I'm gonna go for it. These, I love Reformers Pilates, as some of you might know. I go for this bag, but I hate exercise. Like, I have tried the gym so many times. You never get the feeling that everyone else gets of feeling really good and can't wait to go back. Reformers Pilates is the only class for me. I get bored in Pilates, normal Pilates, and I don't like the circuits. I hate circuits. Running, no, not for me. So the only thing that I've ever found that I absolutely love and could do every single day is Reformers Pilates. I could do that every single day of my life, not a problem. Anyway, this is my outfit. I hope you enjoyed that little get ready with me and random kind of like facts and things about me. But anyway, a lot of rambling as usual. Subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Give it a little video a little like if you did enjoy it, and I will see you later in the next one. Bye.